हेलो दोस्तों, मैं डॉक्टर मंसूर आप सभी का साइंस ऑनलाइन इस यूट्यूब चैनल में स्वागत करता हूँ। फर्स्ट लेक्चर में हमने देखा कि ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स का मेल्टिंग पॉइंट और बॉइलिंग पॉइंट क्या है। आज इसी लेक्चर में हम मेल्टिंग पॉइंट और बॉइलिंग पॉइंट के बारे में बात करेंगे। We will take more examples of the organic compounds. Student, some organic compounds contain the hydrogen bond. Some molecule contain the hydrogen bond, and ऐसे हाइड्रोजन बॉन्डिंग वाले ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड्स को या मॉलिक्यूल्स को एसोसिएटेड लिक्विड्स और एसोसिएटेड सॉलिड ऐसा भी कहा जाता है। फॉर एग्जांपल, we will take example of hydrofluoric acid HF and the hydrochloric acid, that is the HCl. Hydrofluoric acid contains the higher melting point and the boiling point than the hydrochloric acid because hydrofluoric acid contains the hydrogen bonding. Hydrogen bonding is a kind of dipole-dipole interaction, and the energy of this hydrogen bonding is greater than the van der Waals forces. Hydrogen bonding is absent. We also compare the boiling point of the alcohols with that of alkanes. अल्कोहल्स का जो बॉइलिंग पॉइंट है वो अल्केन से ज्यादा है। Alcohols are having the hydrogen bonding. Alcohols are associated liquid. Alkane contains the van der Waals force of attraction, which is weaker forces. So more thermal energy and temperature is required to separate the alcohol's molecule from each other. Less energy is required to separate the alkane molecule because of weaker intermolecular forces of attraction. So here we can compare the three forces and three compounds. Ionic solids like sodium chloride contain the strongest intermolecular forces of attraction. Below that, alcohols contain the hydrogen bonding, which is also a stronger dipole-dipole attraction forces. And at the bottom, we have the alkane. Alkane contains the weakest forces, van der Waals of force of attraction. So ionic compounds are having larger melting point, boiling point than the hydrogen bonded solid and liquid, and finally the alkanes are having the smallest value of melting point and the boiling point. So here we can make the statements that alcohols are having higher boiling point than the alkane. So student, we took the examples of different compounds in order to understand the melting point or boiling point. आगे हम देखेंगे ऑर्गेनिक कंपाउंड की सोलिबिलिटी क्या है। कोई भी सब्सटेंस हम लेकर जब सॉल्वेंट में डाल देते हैं, सो इट इज डिसॉल्व, वो उसमें घुल जाता है, और जब डाले तब और घुल जाता है। लेकिन a situation is arises at a particular point of solubility, the solute will not dissolve. एक वक्त ऐसा आएगा कि वो सोलूट उस सॉल्वेंट में डिसॉल्व ही नहीं हो पाएगा। So solubility attains its richest or the highest value of the limit when we add small amount of substance in solvent. Solution is said to be dilute. If we add more amount of substance in solvent, solution is saturated, and at a particular point the solute will not dissolve further in a solvent, that is the supersaturated solution. So here we can define the solubility. The maximum amount of solvent that can be dissolved in definite quantity of solvent at given temperature is known as the solubility. So solubility of particular compound in given solvent is fixed and it changes with the temperature. Now we will talk about the solubility of different compounds in different solvent. Student, a general principle in chemistry is that like dissolves like. इसका मतलब क्या है? Polar compound dissolves in polar solvent. Non-polar compound dissolves in non-polar solvent. That is the like dissolves like. We will take the example of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is ionic compound, that is it is a polar compound and it is soluble in water. Water is a polar compound. लेकिन हम सोडियम क्लोराइड हेक्सेन नॉन पोलर सॉल्वेंट में ऐड करें तो इट विल नॉट डिसॉल्व, वो घुल नहीं पाएगा. दैट इज पोलर कंपाउंड डिसॉल्व इन पोलर सॉल्वेंट. Polar compound will not dissolve in non-polar solvent. Water is a polar solvent. Hexane is a non-polar solvent. We will take the second example. Camphor. We have camphor. Camphor is an organic non-polar compound. If we dissolve camphor in water, it will not dissolve. But if we dissolve camphor in the hexane or petroleum ether, it will dissolve. Camphor is a non-polar organic compound, so it will dissolve only in non-polar solvent. It will not dissolve in polar protic solvent like water. So here we seeing the two categories of organic compounds, polar organic compounds and the non-polar organic compounds. And here we see the two types of polarity of solvent, non-polar solvent and the polar solvent, like dissolves like. So student, what happens whenever we dissolve any solute like ionic solid M plus A minus in water? So solute, whenever we add the solute Ma in water, the molecules are separated. The molecules are separated and the solvent molecule occupy the spaces between the molecules. सॉल्वेंट मॉलिक्यूल उस आयोनिक सॉलिड के अंदर घुस जाते हैं और वो पार्टिकल सेपरेट कर जाते हैं. The weaker, the older intermolecular forces of attraction is replaced by the new dipole-dipole interaction. So here M plus ion is attracted by the negative pole of the solvent. Solvent molecule surrounds the M plus ion. The A minus ion is attracted by the positive pole of solvent. This A minus is also surrounded by the solvent and solute particle is separated from each other. The energy is released in this process. So the dissolution of any solute in a solvent is known as the solvation, and the solvation in case of water, this is known as the hydration phenomenon. So student, here we can have the question of reasoning. Alcohols are soluble in water, but hexane is not soluble in water. Here we have question of reasoning that sodium chloride is soluble in water, but the alkanes are insoluble in water. Or other example we can have the paraffin is soluble in the hexane or petroleum ether, but paraffin is not soluble in the water. Reason is seems. Answer is a general chemistry in principle is like dissolves like, meaning polar compounds are soluble in polar solvent and non-polar compounds are soluble in non-polar solvent. So here the sodium chloride is polar compound, so it is soluble in polar solvent water. In case of paraffin, paraffin is alkane, it is an organic compound, it is a non-polar compound, so it is soluble in non-polar hexane or petroleum ether solvent, but it is not soluble in polar water molecule. So this thing of understanding of solubility of organic compound with the principle of like dissolves like is very important.